Howdy, with this essay, I want to go over the APA medical essay assignment. While I'm doing that, I'll also go over the annotated bibliography assignment and show you how to do journal number 9, where you have to go to the Northeast State databases and use those databases. To get to the essay itself, they're all going to be in whatever class you're in. It's still going to be on the content page under essay assignments. Look, I'm already there. So you'll see it right there. I already have it pulled up, so I'm just going to open it. For this essay assignment, this is the longer one for the course. This is going to be a 1,300 word minimum, and generally word count's not a problem if you have a good topic, and that's why we're going to spend quite a bit of time on topics before we even start writing the essay. But it's going to be a narrative research essay discussing the experiences of someone you know, and that person can be yourself. In fact, sometimes it's easier to talk about yourself than to talk about another person, but it's just kind of up to you. With the medical topic of your choice, this is going to be an APA format. APA is short for American Psychological Association. One challenge with this essay is going to be going to a different type of formatting. APA is not radically different from MLA. It's just different enough to be very irritating. It make students wonder why we just don't have one format for everything. But APAs generally, if you're going to go into the medical field or sociology, psychology, you're going to be using APA format, not the MLA format you've been learning in high school and stuff. Word count doesn't include the title page, abstract page, or the references page. We'll get into that later when we get into APA format. If you kind of go to the bottom of the assignment sheet, keep in mind whenever you talk about a medical condition, and again, this doesn't have to be life or death, right? I've had good essays on teen acne. Actually, I have a really good one on feline leukemia. The guy was talking about his cat. One challenge there is you can't interview your cat, right? You can't be like, hey, cat, how do you feel today? But he actually made it work out. So, when you're thinking about topics, it doesn't have to be, brain cancer or something like this. It could be something kind of every day. It could be a sports injury. Those work really well for this essay. So if you've had an ACL tear when you played sports in high school, that might be a good topic for this essay. But it generally has stages. So we're kind of talking about a process where you're kind of happy, healthy, normal, then something happens. Symptoms can depend on the condition, right? For Alzheimer's, symptoms may take 5, 6, 7, 8 years to develop. An ACL tear, you might have just went up to header that soccer ball and landed and pop. That's all the symptoms you had, right? Just a lot of pain with you lying on the ground. Then you have to go to the doctor, get diagnosed, see what might have caused it. Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's not. Then you get your treatment, then you get the results. And then you might have to go back and do more treatment, right? It just kind of depends on what you're talking about. Then you have the kind of what's going to happen in the future. For something like Alzheimer's, it's not a good future, right? For ACL tears, it's really remarkable what they can do. It used to be a career-ending kind of injury. Now it's just something you're out for a little while, do some rehab, and you're back in action. So just kind of depends. But keep in mind, you're going to be describing a process. You may not go through all these stages. If you have something like dementia, you may run through the symptoms pretty quickly so you can get to the treatments, or you might spend more time. This took a while to diagnose. It just kind of depends on the condition. So everybody's essay is going to be a little bit different, which makes them very interesting to read. And also, I can have 3 different essays on breast cancer, and they'll be very different essays because each student's going to talk about a different person, and that person's going to have different experiences. So even if you kind of have people picking kind of the same medical issue, the essays are going to be very different. So it's kind of neat. Most of this you can read through, but again, you're going to be telling someone's story. You're going to start the essay with that person. My Uncle Bob was a happy, healthy person until he hit the age of 45 and he started experiencing some concerns, and then you're going to start getting into that process of the condition, right? So don't make it too research heavy. This is a humanities course. I'm much more interested in the story of the person than I am the condition. And later on, if you're in a nursing course, it'll be the complete opposite, right? You might be more concerned about the condition than some individual person. Just kind of depends. You're going to have at least 3 sources. Once you try and have at least 2 of those from the Northeast State database, we'll look at those here in a second. They have to be reliable sources. Hopefully you know who wrote them. When we say authoritative, who wrote that passage, right? You should be able to see the credentials. It should be a fairly reliable, authoritative source, not just the Wikipedia entry or the first thing AI pops up when you do a Google search. So be very careful there. The databases are nice because it's very up-to-date information. You're going to see they're peer-reviewed, they're reliable, and the databases we're going to look at are geared towards high school and college students doing research on medical topics, which is us, right? I want to see at least 2 images, and that just kind of depends on you. Have some really gross out ones. If you ever seen images of ovarian cysts, it's kind of like you don't want to be eating lunch while you're doing that, right? I had a good one on antibiotic resistant infections on the guy's leg, and that was pretty gritty. But you don't have to. It doesn't have to be a gross out contest. Just whatever pictures kind of help further the story you're telling about that person. And as you're kind of thinking about topics, kind of think about if you're going to talk about somebody else, do they want to talk about it? You can't, if you're working in a nursing home, you can't talk about one of your patients. It's a HERPA violation. So you want to kind of think through all these things a little bit, make sure you're not going to get in trouble. And make sure the person wants to talk. If you kind of say, I'm going to do my dad's post-traumatic stress disorder. It's like, well, one symptom of that problem or that condition is that people don't want to talk about it. So you may hit a dead end pretty quick. So you may have to go through a couple of topics. All the fun stuff, long quotes, short quotes, summary paraphrase, the punctuation. You probably just do figurative language naturally as you write the essay. And generally want to avoid you. You're not telling me about how I can avoid the disease or something. You're talking about someone's personal experiences or your personal experiences. You might use you as a hook for like Alzheimer's essays. Have you ever lost your keys? Have you walked into a room and forgot why you went in there? Of course, the reader's like, yeah, oh no, what's about to happen? Then hopefully you're going to say, well, this doesn't mean you have Alzheimer's, but this could be one of the beginning symptoms. They kind of hook the reader in that way, right? This kind of depends on your topic. But that's what we're looking at. So you definitely want to think about, possible topics. If you're going to talk about somebody else, make sure you get permission to talk about them. You can always change your name, but I don't have spies following you around in your life. But you want to make sure they're okay with you talking about them if you're going to talk about somebody else. All right, so that's the essay assignment. Sorry. Let me do the journal first. We go to the journal entries, and they're the same for all the courses. Number 7, you're going to go to the Purdue OWL online writing lab and just read through their APA formatting section. Not exciting reading. Don't try and memorize all this. Just try and kind of start seeing there's some differences between APA and MLA. And just kind of want you to start noticing what those are. We are going to have an abstract for our APA medical essay, so keep that in mind. They also have a sample student essay. I think I've just put it into this. Don't read this entire essay. Please don't. Just kind of look through it. Notice the citations are a little different. They have the section headers and things like that. These will be optional for our paper, but some students really like this, and other students are like, I don't like that. But just kind of look through that. Get back down there. Talk about some of the differences. Make sure you get to 150 words. Number 8, just want you to start talking about topics. Like I said, it's normal to go through a couple of topics before you land on the one you really want to talk about. Even when you land on the one you want to write about, you may have to narrow that down a little bit. You can't talk about someone's 12-year experience with dementia and Alzheimer's in a short 1,300-word essay. So how are you going to narrow that down into a good essay where you can really get into the nitty-gritty details? And I just asked about different possible sources. Then on number 9, I want you to go to the Northeast State databases and find 3 possible sources. So let me show you how to do that. Sorry, weather's changing on me here. So you're going to go to the Northeast State homepage, not D2L, but Northeast State itself. That's where you should start with. Then you want to come all the way to the bottom of that homepage. And down here you'll see library. And then we're going to go up over here to online databases. And there's 128 databases. We're looking for the health databases. We're going to go to the H's. So make sure you click on H. Sorry. And health and medicine and health and wellness are the two best ones. Again, their database is designed for college and high school students who are doing research on medical topics. If you get into some of the other ones, like nursing academic, these are going to be medical professionals talking to medical professionals. You may not be able to understand it. And if you start quoting it in your essay, I'm going to say, hey, I'm an English teacher. You need to paraphrase this or summarize it. Most everybody's going to be doing this from off campus, so you need the same username and password used to get into Okta D2L. Having to think about mine. I'm on automatic so much I don't remember it. See if I got the right one. And there it is. And if you're in high school, this is the same database as the high schools use. That it's reformatted a little bit differently. This Tennessee Electronic Library is free for all Tennessee residents, so that's why all the schools use it. It's free. It's awfully really good, also really good. So we're here in Gale Health and Wellness. There's different ways you can just do a search. Make sure you spell it correctly if you're going to do a search. You can also come down to diseases and conditions. Always worried about new ones popping up, but say you're going to do it on lung cancer. We'll just click on lung cancer. And you'll have this overview page, and down here you'll have more references. Some of it may be like a little more, out into left field than you want to go. But there's like this Gale Health and Wellness online collection. Can be a good one. This Relay Clinical Education can be a good one. And you'll just click on one of those. And like I said, generally these are pretty good peer-reviewed, authoritative passages here, or articles. You have an author. It's fairly recent. You don't want something from 1984, right? A lot has happened in medical research since then. It'll go through the causes, the symptoms, the diagnosis, the treatments. Sometimes even have grossed out pictures. And the neat thing, and what I want you to do for journal entry number 9, is they have citation generators down here. So you're going to click on APA 7th, and you're going to copy that and paste that into your journal entries, and that'll be one possible source for that APA medical essay. Doesn't mean you have to use that source, but I want you to show me you can go to the databases, find a decent article, come down here to the citation generator, and use that for your essay. And you're going to do that for 3 possible sources. So we could just go back. It didn't put it back where it was. There it is. So if you want to come to this lung cancer at Relay Clinical Education, again, that's generally peer-reviewed. That's authoritative. Sometimes it'll give you the same kind of information, but also sometimes you get nice images that you have to use 2 images in your essay. So something like that might work well. But again, you're going to come down to the citation generator and click on APA 7th. Don't stay in MLA. Make sure you click APA 7th. Copy that, paste it into your journal entries, and you just need one more article, right? So that's what I'm looking for you to do, is to go to the Northeast State databases. If you can't find something in the Northeast State database, let me know pretty quick. You might just have something that's so rare it's not in there, or you just may be looking in the wrong place. So. And the last thing I want to talk about, everybody's going to be doing an APA Annotated Bibliography. That'll be under essay assignments. And there it is right there. And what you're going to do, let me download it. Is you're going to list 7 sources that you look at while you research for your APA medical essay. You may not use them in your essay, but I want you to see that, one, you're finding good sources, that you're kind of reading through them, doing your research. Again, at least half the essay is going to be you telling the story of that person, but the other part's going to be the research. And I want you to go ahead and list 7 sources that you're looking at while you consider, while you're researching your topic. It doesn't mean you're going to use them in the essay, but I want you to show me where your research is taking you. Interviews do count. So here we have a sample. I'm not going to put interviews on the reference page, but for the annotated bibliography, this is the way it's going to work. And you're just going to format your reference page entry correctly, and then give me about a 35 to 50 word blurb telling us about that source. So that's what's happening here. This is what's going to look like in the in-text citation. And then this is a little blurb telling us what that source says and how you might use it in your essay. And it's fair to say this source kind of repeats this other source, and I may not use it in my essay. That's fine. But you show me that you're finding research and that the research process is working for you. There's the one that's kind of be more like what we're going to be doing. Again, properly formatted APA reference page entry, then a 50-word blurb telling us what that source says and how you might use it in your essay. But you're going to do that for 7 sources. If you want to see this in action, you go to the content page. There's a sample annotated bibliography under help resources. You just click on that. And that shows you he's given the reference page entry properly formatted, then a 35 to 50 word blurb telling us about the source and how you might use it in the essay. And when you look at the sample APA medical essay, the annotated bibliography matches straight up with this essay. And the nice thing about an annotated bibliography, they suck to do, but once you have them done and you go to start writing your essay for your reference page, you just copy that over, delete the blurbs, and delete any sources you don't use in your essay eventually, and you're done with the reference page, right? And the in-text citations are pretty much the same as the MLA. They want the year of publication, but that's the main difference. So all you're doing is citing using the first word on your references page and giving the year of publication. And if you already have the annotated bibliography, you pretty much have your reference page, so it makes it a lot easier. But getting annotated bibliography done is no fun, but not everything's fun about writing. All righty. I'm going to hush up there. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.